Hey guys, what's up? Taryn here, and I just wanted to make my first tutorial video and just kind of explaining some things about guitar and about just kind of basic stuff, not about like how to play electric guitar for your church and in worship setting, but just to kind of I guess the main structure of what I'm going to teach you is I want to teach you the chords to play in the second position. And I'll explain what that means in a second. But just before I teach that, what I want to kind of cover real quick is that when you're playing electric in a church setting, in a worship setting, and if you've just got one guitar, if you're the only electric guitar player, it can be kind of difficult because and I'm going to try to make this easy as possible, but it can be difficult because you've got to cover the rhythm guitar and the lead. And so it's up to you to kind of determine what's more important. You know, is it important to hit that one string lead line, or is it more important to fill up the space? And so one thing I've had to do is play around with that, and 3 years of doing it, you know, you get to a spot where you realize what's more important when you hear a song. Is, you know, like for instance, intros, outros, those have, you know, lead lines, but you know, you have to also think about how big is the song at the point where they're playing it. If it's big, then you need to stick with rhythm. You know, or the worship leader may say, hey, I want you to hit this lead line, then you may have to hit it. One thing that's worked for me is that instead of hitting that one lead line, find out how I can fit it in to a chord. Like say for instance, I've got the song "Say Say," and say the song "Say Say" is it's got a lead line to it, to where you don't want to just hit it like normal, you know, just the. You don't want to hit just the normal. Just that one line. You want to kind of, if you're the only guitar player, you want to try and figure out how to really get it, how to get it to sound a lot better, a lot fuller, you know, with the band setting if it's just you, because that's going to be important. Because if all of a sudden you're playing a chord, it's real big, and all of a sudden you drop down to this little lead line, it's going to zap the energy right out of it. So one thing that's helped for me is playing more than one string at a time. Like say for instance, that same lead line played in the in a C chord, which would be this. You know, you could play the same lead line. Well, if I hit my that's a C. If I hit that the whole time, it kind of acts like a drone and really kind of fills up the space. So it's more like a so I'm hitting that lead line, but I'm still filling up the space and doing my job. And so really playing around with that stuff when you're practicing your songs before church, you know, before your set, you're practicing the songs. Try and find a way to do that and play around with it, and I think you have a lot of luck with that. But moving on to the next part, as far as the chord shapes. This is something that someone taught me that has just been invaluable. It's changed my life as a guitar player. It's something so simple. It's almost stupid, you know, how simple it is, but it's, man, it's really changed some things. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you just a quick example of what Nashville numbers is. You may or may not have heard that before, but say if we're, if you never have heard it before, you need to learn it, because it'll really, really help you out a lot. So anyway, Nashville numbers in the key of G, what that would look like is basically if you take the key of G, okay, and I know these are kind of hard to read because I wrote it with a pen that was running out of ink, and anyway, so you got your G, your A minor, your B minor, then you go to your C, and then your D, and then your E minor, and then your F sharp diminished. So what that looks like or means in the number system is that, flip this down, you got in that scale, the key of G, this is the scale, basically. The G is 1, A minor is 2, third is the B minor, your fourth is C, fifth is D, and so forth and so forth. Sixth is the E minor. Okay, the minor sixth. So the reason why this is important, and I underlined first, fourth, fifth, and sixth, is because that's what I'm going to teach you how to play your shapes. Because most 90% of your songs are pretty much, especially in worship, is going to consist of that. So the shapes, I'm going to make this real simple as possible for you. The shapes that you're going to be playing for that, we're going to keep it in the G, okay? So your number one position, I'm going to refer to the numbers. Number one position, basically, you need to find your root. How you find your root, simplest way, is you know where your top, you know, go to your top string, your G, boom. Then go over 2 frets, and then down 2 strings. And then that's your octave. That's the easiest way to find your octave. So once you find your octave, now you know you're a G. Okay? Take my first finger, I put it on there. I take my ring finger, I go over 2 frets, down 1 string. Okay, now I'm on my G string, and that's on the 7th fret. That's going to be my that's basically my 5th, and then I'm going to put the octave to that G. When you're down here, it's 3 over 2 down, and so not to confuse you too much, but basically that's your octave on that string. So that's both of those are G's, and then your 5th. Okay, so your D's in there. So that is your first position. Anytime I refer to that, when you play it, the bottom string is not going to be played. Your pinky's going to be resting on that to kind of silence that. Your first finger is going to be resting against the A string, so it's going to mute that. What I normally do is I take my middle finger, kind of rest it on top string on the E string, so that way that doesn't get hit. And I'm basically just going to hit those 3 chords, or those 3 strings rather, and that's going to be my G, which is my first position. Okay. My 4th position, what I'm going to do, the only thing I'm going to do is just take this finger off, and this has to be barred because it's getting pushed back here. Okay. So that's the only difference.